Okay, we're live for the Summer Sprint 2005 Draft Review. Welcome aboard. We are just about done here. We see, in this look anyway, a blank for Toby's halfbacks, Tim and Jess special teams, Brian special teams. I think that's it. No, Tyke special teams. So 4 left to go. So just about done. We will roll through as I feel the DM here. Should be on for an hour or so. Expect this to go about an hour or so, but you never know. It will be on for an hour or so. Okay. 2005 is, I'd say not the most exciting year. We had about 87 last year. I think you just had a lot more of everything. This year just seemed to be a little bit muted, so to speak. If you caught my comment in general, then you got my overall sort of view on things, and that it was rare for a draft these days anyway, where I wasn't thinking about defense early on. It's going to happen from time to time. And this is one of those years where, I think it's hard to separate yourself defensively in any meaningful way. I mean, if you're going to go defense, like I've done in the past, I've gone first 3 rounds defense sometimes, and so have you guys from time to time. You gonna want to separate yourself from the pack, and just wasn't that much of that this time around, I would say. As you looked at the combos, and this combo matrix might be the most difficult for people to figure out what the heck I'm trying to do in the combo summary here. But what it's telling you here is that how many combinations for how many teams can get to good or average or whatnot, right? And first thing you see, of course, is many of us saw immediately, there's just no excellent anywhere, right? As far as excellent goes, 0. As far as pass goes, one team in a 4-3, one team gave you 30 combinations for good. That presumably is the Ravens, DBs. So you pretty much had it locked in. Obviously, 2 teams have it locked in because there's only 16 teams in the league. So 2 squads were going to give you a 4-3 good guaranteed. With linebacker combos. So let's see if I'm reading this correctly. Defensive back groups, 4-3 pass. I've marked this up a little bit now. Good. 30. Yeah, Baltimore, there's your 30. You have 30 linebackers to match up with. Denver, you have 16 linebackers to match up with, which is where you see this 30 and 16 here. Okay. So 2 defensive back groups guaranteed you good and pass. So you'd have to pay a lot to get good. Pretty premium to get it. And, it's typically worthwhile getting it. Typically. But no excellent chances. No way to even fashion it, right, to turn that good into an excellent. Last year, there was summer sprint, which was 84. You had one squad that would deliver excellent for you, guaranteed, which was San Francisco, and they went first in the draft. Excellence excellent's a reason to go that high. Number 1-1, you go for it. But 1-1, you get good. No, probably not, and that's why you didn't see Tyke go for it that early. 1-1 excellence, one thing. 1-1 good is another. And there were just two squads to get you good. So it kind of just felt like everything was ratcheted down. Instead of the 1 to 2 teams to get excellent, it's 1 to 2 teams just to get good. So you had that problem. And then you saw that as far as 4-3 run good was concerned, you were guaranteed 16 with 7 defensive line units. You're guaranteed early on to get good. So all you had to do was grab one of those 7, which you could get into the second or third round, and you get good locked up. So that's how I chose to invest in my defense, not with premium picks, but with a third rounder. Just to lock in a good, because average is pretty much sewn up. If you're going to go 4-3, which is not the worst thing to do in this set, because flat passers are not particularly good, you saw you're guaranteed average. You're pretty much guaranteed average. You have to make sure both sides of run and pass work, but most of us were guaranteed average. 16 combinations, draw 16 ways. 16 teams have 16 combinations to get average. Guaranteed. Locked up. So it's important to use this summary matrix to sort of guide, I think it is anyway, to help guide some overall, defensive strategy. And that's what then led me over to, at least and many of you, to offense early. Felt pretty comfortable that I was going to get good average. Now, the question at that point is, once you have good average, how do you upgrade that pass defense with pass rush? Well, there wasn't much pass rush either. So to me, that meant, okay, out of these 7 DLs, I need to make sure I get one that has pass rush. So I'm not going to wait for the 7th probably. I'm going to wind up probably somewhere 2 through 4 to make sure that I get some pass rush, because there wasn't much linebacker pass rush to get with. So you had to make sure you get on the defensive line to have any pressure put on to upgrade that pass D to just a little bit above average effectively, I think we saw many people sort of follow that template. And, as a result, right, we see as far as good average goes, 7 teams, just like you predict. I think it matches up with those 7 DLs, wound up with good average. At least I think that's the case. I don't know if it lines up exactly with those 7 DLs, but pretty darn close to it. So there might have been a 3-4 good average in there. Yeah, there's Dennis Crowley with a 3-4 good average, and Michael and Tyke. I'm sure those DLs were used anyway among those 7. But you could feel, if you got one of those, you could feel rest assured, hey, I'm going to get good, locked in pretty much. Just need to pick my linebacker whenever I feel like it. In my case, I could wait to the end, last pick. And you saw Dennis last round, linebacker, right? Because he had that good average locked in as well. He was hoping for good, obviously, and we'll get into that as we go along. When someone joins, we'll let them take the helm and walk through their team. But until then, I guess I will start with mine. It's interesting. I really did not think my view, and these are just my views, guys. Everybody has their own views, okay? This is not obviously not the be-all, end-all, just one man's opinion here. I thought your top 5 were pretty clear. 1, not in any particular order. Carson Palmer, well, kind of in order. In quarterbacks, Carson Palmer 1, Peyton Manning 2. You could make the case that Sorgi and his flat pass brings Manning up to 1, but I'd rather not shuffle quarterbacks if I could help it. So Palmer 1, Manning 2, Brady 3, Hassel, this little space, then Hasselback 4. Those guys were separated a bit. So those are the folks I sort of saw as top of the quarterback heap and should be at the top of the draft, because I just did not think even Baltimore DBs. Yeah, I just probably wouldn't think about them until after 4. It would be Hasselbeck or those Baltimore DBs. That would be a question for me. Okay. But not, I wasn't going to think about Baltimore DBs in front of Carson Palmer or Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. So we look here at the rankings. This is the order that Strat gives you. But when you add everything up very meticulously, and I won't go through those, I've been through the formulas before, you can expect 5.71 yards a play from Carson Palmer, including building in must runs, building in turnovers, chances of fumble from all the different ways you can fumble, et cetera, et cetera. I've modified this a little bit, the assumptions behind it, because I ended up drafting Tiki Barber. When you draft Tiki Barber, you bring down the guessed right passing a little bit. You're going to see more run calls. So keep in mind, this model's been tweaked for that, but it didn't change who was number 1, number 2, number 3. Palmer 1, 5.71. Manning, 5.57, right behind him. Brady, 5.2, so some space, then Brady at 5.27, then some more space. You see Hasselbeck. You see in this one, when you have more guessed wrong, Bolger actually moved to 4. But that's because I'm emphasizing guessed wrong. Bolger actually jumps up if you think you're going to get a lot of run calls. He's a good guessed wrong quarterback. But I think in a more traditional guessed right, if you don't have, a maniac and run back, Hasselbeck is your 4th. So what's behind let's break down the difference between Palmer and Manning. Okay. Let's go out here. In terms of flat pass, Palmer's 8th best in the set out of the 70-some quarterbacks. Manning 23rd. So pretty decisive victory here in flat pass for Palmer. Short pass, you see they're both ranked 1 and 2. Manning is 1. And then long pass, 2 for Manning, 3 for Palmer. So number 1 for long pass is Tom Brady. So you see the right at the top, and to me, it's pretty clear why Palmer sits at number 1. You can get Sorgi if you want to. Here's Sorgi down here, and he's your number 2 flat passer? Yeah, number 2. Number 1 being Charlie Batch. And you get Sorgi with Manning, and you can, do strategic substitutions to get that 4.9 that Sorgi has on flat passes, but that's not much better than Palmer's 4.7. So just take the 4.7. Right? And have a threat of a short pass and long pass in those short yardage situations. Which, oh, by the way, is something a lot of us use from time to time. So take it. So Palmer, clear 1. Brady falling that 3rd spot, 27th in flat pass. I'm just comparing him to Manning. So they both had this sort of poor flat pass. Brady falls off a little bit on short pass, but comes back up on the long pass to be number 1. Just better. Just a hair better than Manning. And those top 3 really were the separators for me. And then you really had a break there to Hasselbeck, who has trouble in the flats. Okay, Bolger doesn't. Short pass, 3rd. Long pass, 7th. So good cards there. If you take a look at their fumbling, interceptions are built into the short pass and long pass, by the way. Take a look at their fumbling. When it's all said and done, Palmer has a bit of a fumbling problem. He's 40th in ranked fumbler. Loses 0.42 expected yards per play due to his fumble. Where Brady is number 1, with just negative 0.11 contribution to his expected yards. Okay, not shaving off many points for his fumble. Manning, 26th. Hasselbeck, 5th. Bolger, 29th. Okay, and again, we're looking at all the fumble factors here, right? We're looking at snap fumble, team fumble, and fumble guessed right when running. We're looking at how many must runs you have, right? If you have a lot more must runs, well, your fumble guessed right is going to come up more. Okay, and this model will ding you for that. So those are the top quarterbacks, and then from the halfback perspective, I didn't see how you could rating it out, Barber was not number one, but I still had him as one. It's much harder to rate halfbacks mathematically, in my opinion, than quarterbacks. Because of the guessed right, guessed wrong component. Yeah, you can value wrong running a bit more, I guess. That's the way to do it, because that'll get typically your big gains and whatnot, but it's still hard. It's still tricky. When it's all said and done, Barber, to me, was your first pick among the halfback group, and then a bunch of really good ones behind it, all worthy of first round, but not that first group. That first group, again, in my opinion, Palmer, Brady, Manning, Space, Hasselbeck, and then Barber. But I'm not saying you put Barber fifth necessarily. You might take him at 1.1. I mean, why would you? Or why did I take him? Or why was I so surprised he was even there? I guess we're talking about my team. It's a good segue into it, because these columns, off tackle wrong, okay, where you have a chance to lose less yards if that matters to you at any particular point in time, but especially end run wrong. That 9 long gain plus 57 on 10, which is better than a long gain, okay, and plus 95, basically auto touchdown on 12. You still have the plus 27. This looks a lot like a 2024 card set long pass column for a quarterback. Essentially feels like you're going deep when you run an end run with Barber, except you're not getting an interception, 2 men in zone on the other card, or anywhere on 7 on the long pass card on the defensive side. It's much safer. Yeah, you might get a -3, guessed wrong, or a -5. That's your downside. And oh, by the way, the defensive card generally is going to be a place to get yards, especially if you have 5 or 6 blockers on the end. So, I mean, to get what it feels like a long pass column, guessed wrong at least, it's kind of like having a second quarterback. So that's a very unicorn-like situation for Barber. So those are the top. And I guess we'll spend a little bit on the top before we get straight to my team here. Sorry, Toby. Didn't hear you guys come in. Dennis, welcome.
Howdy.
See if my volume's working, because I didn't hear the old beep.
It's all right.
How much of that did you hear?
Just about how Tiki Barber is as good as a good modern day quarterback. He's going to come out of retirement and lead the Giants to the Super Bowl. So,
well,
I had that card in 2005. Here, I'm gonna share something with you. Hold on. You can take it right back.
Yeah. Do I have to give up my screen on?
Nope. No. Good. I'm gonna. I'll do like this, and then it'll ask you probably.
How are you this evening, Toby?
All right. I don't know if you hear me.
You can hear you.
Cool. I didn't pay attention if I was muted or not, but doing all right.
No, you're
getting a kid to bed and trying to look at Strat.
Aren't we all? Well, kids are in bed. That's taken care of. My youngest turned 11 today, so it was a fun day around here.
Nice. Happy birthday.
Yes.
So here's my 2005 Somifa roster.
I'm not seeing your screen. I'm going to unshare mine.
No, yeah, you just have to add mine to the broadcast, like you're adding a person. It's there. It says DC, and it shows my screen.
Yeah. No, I see you. Oh, DC. Yeah. Heard. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is the 2000. These are the Somifa roster. And I traded a first-round pick. I lost the playoffs, but I had Mark Bolger, Tiki Barber.
Oh, wow.
So I remember a lot of these players. And what's interesting is NFL Ed ranked the quarterbacks. So yeah, Carson Palmer number 1.
Yeah.
Manning number 2, Brady number 3, Hasselbeck 4.
Yeah, I'm with him.
And NFL's Ed rankings is a lot of
Over the years.
for that season. So that'll affect his rankings. And then the halfbacks. So there's Tiki Barber, number 1 halfback.
Yeah.
So anyway, take it back.
Yeah, go back down again. Let me just see this. Okay, well, that's right. 12.3. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk first round, guys, a little bit before we get into our individual teams here. You see Dunn there rated by Ed as the number 2 halfback. I think that's probably right. You know, I really liked Thomas Jones a lot too. I didn't see a lot of separations between those two. But what did you guys think? Were you surprised to see Dunn go 1?
Well, not necessarily, but I mean, I do think he's missing. You need to like share your thing again. Your
Yeah, I'm getting there.
recap.
There we go.
I wish that he was more involved in the passing game. That's all I would let's say. Like if he was like, you know, he could go deep,
Right.
or even short more effectively.
Yep.
Even flat more effectively. I would like to see him a better receiver because I remember him as a good receiver.
Yes.
And then there's nobody else in that unit besides Duckett who's good guess right. So that'll be good for going forward on 4th down. But usually the running back, halfback sets nowadays, you get 3, 4 guys. Now, back then, you see how much the NFL and strat has changed with all these 300 carry backs. And they didn't need to have a need for multiple backs. They stuck with the main guy. They rode that horse. So
He brings you that pass block 7. I mean, that's a bit of a nice separator, but there's just not much. There's no 12-star 12s out there, you know, to really worry about. I mean, safety blitzing, right? That's good. So that's a bonus. I mean, as you compare those two, because I think Barber's a different animal altogether. So not because he's so much better necessarily, just a different card. I think Thomas Jones is a better comparison. You see here, ATN and Chicago comparing Linebuck wrong. The more points you have here, the better you are above the average back in this set. You see that basically what's going on here. Oh, I gotta plug my computer in. Is that Dunn is better guessed wrong, and Jones is better guessed right. Okay, you see that across the board there. You see Jones's fumble is also better, which, oh, by the way, is helpful. Here comes the pass block. Okay, and you get a bonus points in there for Atlanta compared to Jones. Jones has some, so he doesn't lose out entirely in that category. And then you get to the receiving, not much difference. And people seem to be hung up on Thomas Jones' short pass. Dennis, you and I talked about this. The fact that he has a blank short pass column is a lot different than having a blank long pass column. Completely different universe. You can throw to a back who has a blank short pass column. So you're just not going to get receptions if it goes to receiver. You can't throw to a back who has a blank long pass column. That's huge.
Correct. And I think that you're a lot of backs.
You're cutting out of me, Dennis.
He has 5 completions. Guess right.
Yeah. Right.
So
that's all you're getting.
0.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you're getting. I have it up on the screen now. That's all you're getting. It's not, I mean, so that's not even close to a separator. And in my rankings, you know, I'm giving him just 1.96 points, right? You don't know what a point means really, but you know, roughly your top back is going to rank around 150, 175 in rating points. So that's nothing. So it's a marginal difference. The fact that Jones does not have, does not give you the short pass, and then at least a column for it. And then you see out here in carries, slight edge to Jones and a better second back in terms of carries. So yeah, I think in terms of value, Dennis, you got a tremendous value for Jones back at 14 compared to Dunn. Now, again, maybe we need to rate guessed wrong running higher because you might just say because of this card is going to get more run calls, right? Than Thomas Jones. Maybe that's where, maybe I'm missing the story. It's just not, here's Thomas Jones, just not as lethal. Guessed wrong, Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
but
like
at the
it.
goal,
I mean,
at
it's
the
got,
goal line, give me Jones.
It's got guessed right, and it's got a couple of big hits. Like that 9 plus 57 on Barber's card is 9 plus 27 on a linebacker card for my guy.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
like you said, it's not as lethal, but he's got some big hits.
Yeah, not as lethal as done, but yeah, plenty. So yeah, look, ultimately I was a little puzzled. I was wondering if Tyke is a Florida State guy or something. I think he's a Michigan guy, right? Ann Arbor, but he's definitely right there. Definitely right there. Top 1, 2, 3 backs. Then
I knew
Toby,
I didn't
you
like
went
him
in.
for a reason.
Go ahead, sorry.
I knew I didn't like him for a reason.
Florida State
No, Ann Arbor.
or Michigan? Oh, Michigan. Right. Yeah,
I'm
you're an
Ohio,
guy.
so Ohio State,
Yeah.
Ohio State, Michigan. Yeah, sorry.
Right on. No, I'm with you. I'm not a big Michigan guy either, despite living there for a while. That made me not be a Michigan
I
guy.
was gonna say,
living there.
yeah, beautiful place to visit, but I never want to live there.
Right. Indiana quarterback, Toby. So tell your story. I mean, I know you're busy this week, but how'd you wind up with Indianapolis quarterback?
How did I end up with the Indianapolis quarterback? Bluntly put, because I signed up to do the league, didn't pay attention to what year we were playing, any of that stuff. I'm sitting at a lacrosse field and watching my daughter play lacrosse, and I go, I think you or somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, you gonna pick this?" And I went, "Oh crap, I forgot when I got home last night." And I skimmed it real quick and I thought, okay, 2024, 25. All right, we got it. So I grabbed, I'm like, okay, oh, never mind, not Lamar Jackson. Then you guys started correcting me and I went, 2005, who had the most passing yards in 2005? Peyton Manning. Done. Yes.
Done. There you go. Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad pick at all.
Manning. Peyton, not Eli. Peyton,
And you probably didn't know you were getting Jim Sorgi with him as well, who brings some value.
Well, I mean, Jim Sorgi was like the cat's meow,
Well, and when you're in a 4th and 1 at the 11-yard line going in, maybe Sorgi's your quarterback.
And,
He's the second best flat pass in the set.
right.
Number 1 is Charlie Batch. Second is Sorgi. And, I had people talking to me when you made that pick saying, oh, okay, I guess he values Sorgi, to take him over Palmer. And so it was not a frowned upon pick at all. Your going to Pro Football Reference pick actually, I think, worked out pretty darn well. Could have been a lot worse than.
I didn't even have the 2005 game or the season yet at that point. But the second part was that being an Ohio guy, my dad and my grandmother were huge Bengal fans, and I was a Browns fan. I'm a Browns fan because, well, I like the abuse and getting beaten up all the time. But one of the things that I just saw too many games, Carson Palmer just never, even the couple of years that he was an MVP kind of guy, I just didn't feel it. We didn't see it. It didn't, the sniff test didn't pass for me in the games I saw him play because I had to watch him because it was 2-1 when we sit down to watch games. I'd have to watch him and watch the bottom line because this is 2005 to see how the Browns were doing. And so yeah.
So you were living where at the time?
I live about a half hour north of Columbus.
Columbus, and you weren't getting the Browns games?
We got Browns games, but I wasn't allowed to watch them because
because of your family.
We have, Columbus is one of those unique markets that there's 2 pro teams that are allowed. Actually, there's 3 because Pittsburgh has got rights to Columbus too. Mm-hmm. So they can all 3 be designated as the home team, depending on what they want to do. Most of the time it's Cleveland, but they will rotate back and forth. But at my house, Cincinnati was on. If they were on, they were on.
That's what you watched. Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was the game I got to watch on Sundays back, when we didn't have the options of flipping over to a ESPN or whatever to grab a second game. But
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, Palmer had a good career. He kind of
Yeah.
seemed like a bit of a maybe somewhat prissy, USC, sort of
yeah,
magazine
Yeah.
cover sort of guy. But you certainly can't fault this card.
Central Ohio guys don't, Central Ohio is not known for being real high on those guys that are GQ models,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the next couple picks, Greg and John. Interesting here. Now, I just made the case before why I wouldn't have gone Ravens DB, probably top 5 or top 6. I was going to maybe consider him at 6 if all my guys went, but I wasn't feeling the value, of the value of a top pick to get good. So, especially with so many runners in this set. So I wasn't feeling it. Dennis, did you have any view on the Ravens DBs? Did you think they were going to go 1.1 or something?
I can be honest with you here. I didn't do any prep until my pick was on the clock. I mean, I just looked at it right then. So they were already gone. I looked at it and I didn't see any 22s. I didn't see any possibility of getting excellent pass or run defense in this set.
Correct.
And I kind of like that. So that's usually the justification to the team. A DB or a linebacker or even a defensive line group is when they stand out far and above the rest. But with only 21 points and no chance at excellent, I'm not sure I would have gone there. But I do like the fact that you're locking up good pass defense. There's going to be a lot of teams in this league that won't have good pass defense, and that can be a difference maker. So,
yep. You get that one pick on a 2 through 5 flat pass, and it pays off. No doubt about it. If you get that 5. Now, John, Buffalo special teams was another surprise to me, and not because it's not a good group. It's a good group. I mean, clearly. We'll head over to the special teams here. I mean, you're getting these 2 5s, and you're getting some top returners. So I get it, 5 corners on both sides, but when you dug into it, and I guess that's one reason I like this set, is the weirdness of the 2 position guys. You figure you're getting left and right corner, that's going to be almost a guaranteed excellent. No, I mean, there was no combination that got you there. You couldn't do it. It's just the way that the players were rated. There was no team you're looking for 2-0 cornerbacks, what you're looking for, right? And to pair them up with 2 safeties that are rated high, it wasn't out there. So, yeah, I get it. Great unit, but I just didn't like the way the set played with it. It was just weren't going to be able to pair it up to get something premium at the end of the day. That led Michael to wind up with Palmer, who I viewed probably as your number 1 pick when it was all said and done. There was just a good set of quarterbacks, guys who can consistently move the ball, and that's Palmer, Manning, Brady, then Hasselbeck, and then kind of Bolger. After that, it gets bleaker fast. So, without every quarterback being decent, like in the 24 set, to me, there's a bit of a premium on the strong quarterback. And for Michael to land him at 5, big win.
Yeah, I thought Mike several times in the draft came up with he was in the right spot to get, and of course his preparation was fantastic. He's one of the more prepared ones, but every time that I had a special unit I was kind of keeping an eye on, Mike would wind up with him. That San Francisco kick return punt return unit, Carson Palmer in the first round. Who were the other ones that I was like, God dang it, right when I was gonna make a move on it, he came up with a couple other ones. The Seattle tight end group, I really wanted that group because of Leonard Weaver and Max Strong, and he got him right before me. So of all the coaches, Mike, I thought did a great job sniping units. Or getting great value for units in different rounds of the draft.
Yes. And that was started off. That was good. And welcome, Dennis, by the way. Other Dennis.
Hello there.
Just going through the first round real fast. Miami defensive line for Tim and Jess. Now, look, I was playing along with Tim and Jess most of the draft. It was the first draft. I was, kind of pushing them to offense, which may have had a reverse psychology effect. I don't know. It could have easily had a reverse psychology effect. Because I walked through this before you guys joined. I mean, there's 7 defensive lines that pretty much guarantee you good in 4-3. So, yes, you want pass rush, right, as a differentiator, but you can get that all the way down to like the 3rd or 4th. So I wasn't feeling that kind of defense early. So I ultimately, going honestly, I don't disagree with the pick, but to me, it's either Brady or Barber right there. And that's what they heard from me. I was like, okay, guys, who do you want, Brady or Barber? I'll take whichever one you don't want. And they just went a different direction. And lo and behold, Dennis, you get him back at 13, Brady. Amazing value. I would say the best value of the draft. But we'll come back to that. Then I went Barber there at 6. I talked about that enough. Chicago linebackers for Brian. I wasn't even looking at linebackers. One year, 1978, I took the Denver linebackers about, I think, right here, maybe 7th or 8th pick. They were 6'6", 6'5", right? And then in 87, I took New Orleans. They were same thing, 6'6", 6'5", plus pass rush all over the place. Did the Bears carry that kind of weight? Any thoughts on the Bears pick there? Silence among the crew. Let's see, pass rush.
Brian always builds a great team. Yeah, so Brian always builds a great team. It's hard for me to question his picks, but again, what you're looking for is units. This is how you win these leagues. Drafting units that stand out above what's next. Yep. If you can get guys that are good at a particular tier and that separate you from the next group, then that's what you want. So I assume he's going to play.
He's going 4-3.
4-3-5-6-6.
Yeah, 4-3. 4-3. Good.
Yeah, so you get 5. You can't get against the pack.
So, yeah, I mean, look, if you're going to go first round, you better get good, right? And I think most of the teams did. Greg did. I don't think Tim and Jess did. They got good average. Yeah, good average. Brian's good. Your other defense was late with Willie. That's pretty late at 16, so you're not going to be guaranteed good out there. Yeah, he got average good. So, at least he got good, right? That's something for sure. But his pass rush rank, let's see where that falls off. Not bad, 7th, middle of the pack, 7th. So, I get linebackers. I want some pass rush too, typically, but good something. Butch goes Bulger, who is particularly good guessed wrong. He actually separates from folks guessed wrong a little bit. Like he moves above Hasselback if you think you're going to get a lot of guessed wrong. But I don't think you're getting a lot of guessed wrong when you have the Carolina halfbacks. So to me, I'd rather go Hasselback in that situation. And you got Hasselback all the way at 2.3, Dennis, which is an amazing value. I think both Dennis's, I was praising you left and right to anybody who would listen about how your first 2 picks were stacking up.
I started off hot, but after that it went downhill. So we can talk about that snafu later on.
Larry goes O-line. I've gone O-line first before. Dennis, probably you've gone first round O-line before. I don't think either Toby or Dennis, you guys have before.
I have not.
So I went Miami, 80, whatever that was, 89, 88. You went Miami 84, Dennis?
Yep.
And to me, both those groups were separators. I didn't know that this Giants group was a separator in the same way. Did it?
Look at him. Yeah, there's the offensive lines. They didn't even have the most points.
Yeah, Kansas City had more points. Their pass block is better. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like that pass block.
It's not even a number 1 pass block though either.
Right.
4th in pass rank, 7th in run. Combined rank of 3rd.
Yeah, Cincinnati and Kansas City above them, but sometimes you just got to go with what works well for your team. I would have picked one of the other two simply because I like to have that 5 or 6 at center. I don't know why that seems to be a difference maker at times.
Now Bob went Kansas City halfback. He and I were talking about it. I said I like Jones better. I just do. And that's a lot because of the fumble, elevated fumble for Johnson. What he was focusing in on, and I get it. You know, he liked the end run wrong plus 7. You know, on 8, yeah, that's end run right. I'm sorry, plus 7 on 8. That's nice. I mean, it sure is. It's a nice end run right column. -2, -1. A lot of good stuff about Johnson. It's splitting hairs, I would say, Jones over Johnson. So you know, it's not a big deal. But I did prefer Jones there. But I get it. And then Nick with the Pittsburgh halfbacks. The thing about Parker is he's a, you know, I think you just showed Ed's rating him, having him 3rd, Dennis. And that's because, you know, guessed wrong. He's going to get more run calls. He is. Kind of like Barber Jr. here a little bit. Looking at the card, the plus 45 on 10 off tackle wrong. You know, I get it.
Weird.
Yeah, his end run is nasty.
Yeah, and off tackle. I mean, that plus 45 right there.
Sure.
You know, that's intimidating stuff. I think he'll be interesting to see what his end run off tackle split is. Just depends how much you want to avoid -7s, I guess.
Exactly.
Then Dennis, you got Brady quarterback. I must say you probably did not expect him there.
I did not. No, I did not expect him there. Going into this draft, it seemed like, I mean, if you look at the set, there was nothing overly too offensive about any of the teams. There wasn't like great elite quarterbacks. It seemed like it was a running back heavy league. I mean, a lot of the running backs, you know, have pretty decent cards and like 300 plus carries, so you can really just run them all day. So going in, I was, you know, I mean, you don't know how these things are going to roll out, but as we went in and I was sitting in the 13th spot, I was thinking, you know, if I have an opportunity, I need to get talent on the offensive side because I think that's going to run out quickly. So yeah, to have Brady there, I was not expecting that at all. So I was happy to grab that.
We are of exact like mind there. Exact like mind. That the offensive talent, you know, there's a maybe half the league is going to get an offensive separator. And if you're not in that group, it's going to be tough to move the ball.
Exactly.
And yeah, Brady, as you know, we were talking, I was considering Brady at 7 actively, right? I was going back and forth. And for the exact reason you said is that, well, yeah, I can probably get a decent enough halfback in the second round. Can I get a decent enough quarterback in the second round, you know, to pair with Barber? Sure. That was my worry. You know, you, of course, didn't have to worry about anything. You or Dennis Crowley didn't have to worry about anything because you were coming right back. You were getting top end offensive talent, and you could just 4 picks later boost it up with whoever the hell you felt like. I mean, criminal, absolutely criminal. Thomas Jones,
this is one of those drafts where it was good to be, you know, back down where I was, down where Crowley was. I think it was a good spot to be down there close to the turn.
Turned out that way.
Yeah.
Turned out that way. But if it went chalk, I didn't want to be down there.
Yeah, true.
Because I didn't think I'd have a chance at a Thomas Jones or a Tom Brady. Instead, both of them were available. Any thoughts on quarterback here, Dennis, or are you going halfback all the way?
No, I told you my plan, my kind of plan before the draft. I was thinking about taking every Seattle unit. So taking the Seattle halfback in round 1, halfback or quarterback in round 1, halfback or quarterback in round 2, and then just trying to get the other units. It would have been really interesting to have a stock team in a draft league, but that went out the window when Sean Alexander and the chunkiness of it. I felt I'm not going to get very many run calls with Sean. People are just going to take their chances that you hit a bad number. So,
right.
You know, that once that plan went out the window, I was then thinking, okay, do I take the halfbacks here or the quarterback? And I thought, okay, well, there's a better chance for Hasselback to be there on the way back than there is for the the Chicago halfbacks. So.
Yep. DB for Willie, solid pick. It delivered him good pass D, and then we closed it out with Trent Green. You know, I had Hasselback ahead, but not by a huge margin or anything. Again, this you guys probably didn't hear, but this model's been adjusted for more guessed wrong passing because I got Barber, which actually put Bolger ahead of Hasselback at 5. You see 4 here is Bolger, 5 Hasselback, Green is 6, right there. So that makes sense. That closed out the first round. So welcome Tim Irvin to the broadcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Are any of you short on time as we begin your team run-throughs? So give somebody the opportunity to go first if you know you're short on time. You actually have to get somewhere.
I would like to go first so I can go back to working on this league file.
Okay, yes, that's a good, yes.
That benefits everybody. So I ditched the draft every Seattle unit plan. And then after that, in round 3, I thought I was being like super smart. We already talked about my first 2 picks, but I said, I'm gonna get the Atlanta kick returner, punt returner, get that 6th quarterback out because there's 2 units that I could take, either the Dallas DBs or the Philadelphia DBs, and then I'll guarantee myself good pass defense. Getting those 2 key offensive players and good pass defense, I thought that was kind of like the key I had to winning Battle Royale. It turns out I missed the Tyke had already taken Dallas DBs at the beginning of round 1. And then 2 picks later, Larry picked the Philadelphia DBs. So there was no other spot to make use of D'Angelo Hall as a 6th cornerback. So I was stuck with average. No, so that kind of like hosed my plan. And instead of that, I tried to take the Dallas DBs, and then everybody's like, hey, they're already gone. And I decided to switch it up. I went to one of the 2 units that had 17 run defense in round 4 to say, okay, well, I'm not going to get good pass defense. At least I can get good run defense. And even that was kind of a mistake because, like you brought out, Anthony, that you pretty much were going to get good pass defense, a good run defense no matter what. Because of the way the linebackers and the D lines were set up. So I could have gone somewhere else and shored up my other positions. And plus, New England has no pass rush. So I'm not going to be able to, take guys out with sacks.
Right. I mean, if they would have delivered pass rush, then I'd say it's a no-brainer pick, right? At 50. 51 is where you got them, right? But without the pass rush, I hear you.
And then in the next round, I really wanted Miami receivers. Dennis took them right before me. I settled for my backup plan. Denver wide receivers don't have as much explosiveness as the Miami guys. They got more hits deep, which will come in handy, but they don't have those like plus 18s and long gains as much, from both guys.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good group, though. I mean, I was eyeing them too. Denver has the 9th best single receiver, the 4th best pair, though. I mean, that's not bad, right? And then 3rd best trio out there. So,
Miami is clearly better with the 2nd best. I see you're calling them
that. Yeah. Miami. Yeah, I had a shot at Miami too. I almost took them. And you ended up with them, Dennis Young.
Yes, I did.
I think that was an underrated group. I couldn't. You look at the wide receivers here, how they ended up going 7th when they were the 2nd best pair. I think was a real head scratcher to me. I guess they're not flashy names.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
No, they're not.
But they've got some really nice cards in there, and you got them at 77. But anyway, Dennis Crowley, back to your squad.
Yeah, and then took the Indy offensive line. I like getting 3 7s at pass block in 3 key spots: left tackle, left guard, and center, I believe.
Yep, it's tied for the best pass block in the league.
Yeah, so felt good about that.
That's an interesting thread. Let's go down that a little bit. This offensive line situation, right?
Yeah.
You waited to 83, right? I waited to 103. We both ended up with the number 1 pass blocking unit, tied in the league, all the way down at 83. Are you concerned about the run blocking? What were you thinking? That it was just from a value perspective?
Well,
It was worth waiting.
You mean why didn't I take it earlier? An offensive line
No,
group earlier?
well, why did you wait? I mean, did you? It's I guess the opposite.
Well, there wasn't
question.
a lot. There wasn't a lot of separation, so you had a lot of offensive line units in that pack. So you have a similar number of points. Even when I took Indy, there was another group that had like one more point. But I liked having those 3 7s. So when I took Indy, there was who was it? There was 2 other groups that one that had the same pass rush.
Yeah, Green Bay and New England all had the same pass block. Yeah,
right. So when I took Indy, I think Chicago was there. Chicago and Green Bay were there, or San Diego was there, something like that.
San Diego probably.
I liked having the 3 7s. And
it's just a weird group, right? You don't see it this way typically. I mean, you're not going to see so much pass heavy or run heavy like it was. This is an odd year, right? And
if you look back through the history of Strat, there's certain quarterbacks with their quick release that garnered good pass blocking. Marino,
Breeze,
with
the Saints, Manning, got all 7s all the time.
So that's why you have the run blocking isn't that great, but they had to give you those 7s because they didn't give up a lot of sacks. So a little worried about the right tackle being a 4 only. I like having those 7s, so we'll see what happens. And I have my 5 center for run blocking.
Yeah, I could see you taking him there because you do want a little bit of run blocking for Jones. I mean, the nice thing about Jones is he can run to all 3 levels. So you're going to want a little run blocking there. So you go 83 to secure at least some, compared to my guys, New England, which is a bunch of 0s, and 4s. And by the way, I don't need them as much with Barber. My tight ends matter more than my offensive linemen. So okay, so Indy there, and then you came back.
So I got the Green Bay tight ends. There's not a lot of great tight end sets. There would be like one good tight end, but the second guy couldn't go deep. So I like to have 2 guys that can go deep, especially with a decent deep passer and those 7s. Yep. So grab them. They even have a 4-7 blocking back, which means I could have 4 7s protecting Hasselback when he goes deep. So that's something to keep in mind. And then that's about it. Everything after that. The one thing I would like to say about the linebackers in round 9, I really wanted Cincinnati linebackers. I almost took them in round 8, but decided to take a kicker punter unit since nobody had taken one, and I figured I'd get my choice. The second best kicker, but he was the best in my eyes because of the returns that happened with the Arizona kicker. And an average punter or below average punter, but
I really like the Dallas pick, though. I mean, I like that Dallas pick a lot. First of all, 3, 4, yeah. I mean, you get DeMarcus Ware. I mean that brought you up in your pass rush ranking up to 6, so you're top half all of a sudden. Right?
Yeah. So, but I don't like the way it plays. I'll tell you why. Because those guys can be targeted if you're blitzing them a lot, which I do. And then the guy next to him is a 0. So it's not like the setup where you have a 4 in Ware and then you slide out a 4 to replace him. So a little bit of, I'm going to have to bring the free safety up or maybe not bring him as much as I'd like to. So, but at the end, when I was deciding if Cincinnati would have been there, I like them because there's like 3 guys that you can send that have like 7 or more pass rush. Asterisk, but I kind of like that you bring them all and you have like 3 guys, 2 guys that are going to be like 10s after you do all the adjustments.
Yeah, I'm going to defend your Dallas pick. I think you have 3 major mitigating factors to the problem you just laid out with Dallas. Number 1, halfbacks really can't go deep. The only one that can the entire set is Carolina. Okay, so you have 15 opponents that can't go deep on your blitzing linebacker. That's really helpful, number 1. Number 2, the flat pass for these quarterbacks is not very good at all. So if you're blitzing and you're getting guessed right, flat passing, okay. Yeah, there might be 0 men or a 0 there, but that brings us to the third issue, which is there's no 6 rule. So, I mean, I don't know. Having guys flat pass guessed right against me all day is probably not going to lead them to a lot of wins. So, in 2024, yeah, more of a concern. 2005, less of a concern. I like the pick.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my team. I'm gonna go back and work on the league file. We're missing one pick. We're missing Tyke's pick, and I'm sure he's not gonna pick till the morning. But I can do the schedule. I can do the defensive assignments. So thanks everybody. I'll listen to this, but I'm gonna stop talking now and start focusing on that. And I appreciate Anthony hosting the broadcast.
Sure thing. Overall, Dennis' team looks good. It should be able to move the ball on offense. That's their first question. And then your second question, yeah, I mean, good average, keeps up with the Joneses and a decent enough pass rush. So, you're going to have, you got the 6 here that came from the special teams. You got some return problems, I think. Returning matters a lot, but in these sets where there's no dump off, third down conversions don't go so well, and you end up with a lot of punts. But overall, good squad. Okay. Anybody else time constrained that wants to go next?
Oh, real quick before you leave,
Yeah.
Can you post that file you just had with all the good and average, everybody's presumed defensive alignment?
Yeah, I did.
I
I did. It's up
Okay,
there
perfect.
in general. Hard copy anyway. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks. All right. See you guys.
Anyone want to volunteer for the next up? Not everybody speak up at once, or I'll volunteer you. Toby, you're up. Are you there, Toby?
I'm here. Sorry, couldn't find the mute button.
So who'd you end up with at halfback again?
Cadillac Williams, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Okay. Yeah. Where did I put them? So did I mess you up somehow? Yeah, it looks like I messed you up somehow. I didn't go back. Oh, right there. Tampa Bay, right there. Okay. I'll fill that in. Walk us through your team.
Yeah, not sure what I could do. Yeah, well, interesting. I guess I don't know.
Let's take a look at Cadillac Williams to start, because I think a lot of us aren't familiar. I know he's got some dynamic roles there, right? Yeah, he does.
Decent. I mean, for 10th round halfback, I mean, Pittman's got a decent one. Decent,
yep.
Not great. Pittman's also got a nice receiving card.
And they're probably going to be running guess wrong all day against Manning.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope, But then, where did I go to? 2 was
second round was Carolina special teams.
Got me Steve Smith and Chris Gamble, which was what I went there was to get that Gamble as a 5 and get the Steve Smith's 108, pretty good reception rate and all that kind of fun stuff. And
yep, it's a fun set. Dennis Young, you commented when that pick came in.
Which pick is that?
It's about Carolina special teams.
Oh yeah, that was. I was planning on taking that when it came down the third because I really liked pairing up Steve Smith with Brady. I thought I could get a receiver there and kind of hold him off to the side, and then pick up another team with a couple more, and then also getting the cornerback. So that was definitely going to be my pick coming down from the third. So I was not happy when Toby grabbed him.
I liked it with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, virtually the same quarterback. I mean, different, different skill set, but very similar in terms of the numbers. But that was where I was looking at. Was the big one.
Then you started building a defense with San Diego linebackers and Indianapolis secondary.
Well, in the San Diego linebackers was something that I was talking to Dennis, the other Dennis, about a little bit, was because I grabbed them because they're 5.5. So I got 4 5s, and I got Merriman's, blitz.
Yes.
But it was nobody's a 6, but then at the same time, nobody's a 4 or a 3. Or 0. I mean, 4 or 0. And so I was kind of like, okay. So I went consistency there with that, was just the opportunity to have 4 5s. And I've always ended up with big holes in my defense because I usually go offense pretty heavy. And people just eventually just run me over,
Yeah,
And So this one I kind of thought, okay, we're going to take that chance. We're going to do this and go that way. And then I went to Indianapolis Special DBs because of they paired really well with. They were actually the only card set left. They were the only players left, I think, that I could get good as a receiving set because of the fact that I would take their 3 or 4 corner out. I would take the 0 corner out and replace him with Gamble at a 5.
Yep.
And so that was, a no-brainer, and I didn't want somebody else to take that away from me.
And that worked out. I mean, you got your pass good.
Yeah.
Like, plus you have real pass rush with San Diego. So, I mean, that's kind of a good plus pass defense that you have with the pass rush and the good rating.
Yeah. Then I kind of screwed up because for the first time I was trying to be a little bit like you, building Excel spreadsheet or sheets and doing all that kind of fun stuff, trying to actually look at, can I build a good defense? And when I put together my formula for the run ratings, I missed when I was like pulling them out and putting them into the thing. I didn't read it quite right, so I was overvaluing those linebackers. So what ended up happening was I thought I had already was pretty much set to have a really good defensive, a good D line.
Yeah.
So I just kind of pushed them to the side because I'm like, okay, there's 6 D line teams left, and 5 of them can give me a good rating. Well, once we figured out that I screwed up, I was kind of stuck and ended up average, or I probably would have gotten my D line next instead of going to Pittsburgh's O line. Which I did that again. It was similar to the other stuff. Was I did Pittsburgh O line because they didn't have any holes. The other guys all seem to have at least a 0 run block or a 0 pass block. Even like Indianapolis, I was like, wow, this is a really good pass blocking team. And then I looked at run block and there's 2 zeros starting. I'm like, okay, I that bugs me. And so I went with Pittsburgh for that one with more just kind of the consistency across. Dallas, fullback, tight ends. I was between Witten and Cooley at this point. And I ended up doing it because of was the opportunity to get Thompson as the fullback, halfback, which gave me one of the few guys in the set that actually has a decent running rating.
Yeah,
that actually can carry the ball with a fullback.
Yeah,
a lot of good blockers, but he gives me that if I go pro set, I can actually have a fullback that you have to consider as running the ball.
Yep.
Where did I go after that?
Dallas D line,
Dallas D line.
Another 9.
I realized I had screwed up, so I grabbed the best available D line. I thought.
Yeah.
I was between them and Baltimore, and the reason I didn't was because Baltimore, I would have had to split Baltimore's. Dallas, all 3 of the guys were consistent. Baltimore, you had to go Suggs to get the pass rush. So I was having to pull out one of the 5s to put in Suggs.
Right. Where you get that with Greg Ellis.
Yeah. So that's the reason I went there, was that way I wasn't having to, I had that 9 was there. KC wide receivers.
To pair with Smith.
Yeah. Biggest reason was Kennison. I think it was Kennison, right? Because of the fact that as a flanker, at that point, I was between him and Keenan McCardle with Tampa Bay, because they both had nice things. But the third player,
Galloway.
I like the idea. And Dante Hall, Dante kick returns. Was what gave me a thought. He was the only one that had a touchdown opportunity for it there. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give him a shot. That was there. Jacksonville kicker punter. Kicker punters, who cares? And then I went Cadillac just because he was
Best
best
of the rest. Yeah.
of the rest. I was between him and Westbrook with Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Bill
that
Westbrook
would have been
didn't have
cool.
enough carries.
Yeah.
I was concerned about Westbrook because he only had about 150 carries, and
Yeah.
I was nervous that even he had 70 receptions, but he just didn't have that. I was nervous that it would, he wouldn't hold up for me long enough, and nothing great, just decent, but yeah.
Well, that would have been a fascinating pick for what it's worth.
If I did
No,
that,
I don't know that
would
it-
have just
I don't know
lined
that
up
it was
with
the
four wide
right pick.
receivers or three wide receivers and halfback, and just let throw the ball 90% of the time.
Right.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I have the Battle Royal that we just finished up was my, I think, fourth one of these kind of things. And my first one, I won one game. And I won 6 the last one. So I'm slow. I'm getting better. I've improved every time, but it's slow. So I'm starting to, that's kind of where I was looking. My goal this time is get to the playoffs. And every time I say that to myself, I have that flashback to, I think, was it Herm Edwards? They went, playoffs.
What's his name? Green. Dennis Green. Yeah.
Dennis Green.
No,
that's
not
right.
Dennis Green. Jim Moore. Jim
Dennis
Moore.
Green in the playoffs. Yeah.
Jim Moore.
I always have the flash because I've been playing Strat for, I started playing Strat baseball when I was in high school. So it had been 92, 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing baseball pretty consistently ever since. And then I started playing Strat football probably, 3 or 4 years ago. Well, that's longer than that. I got suckered into a 56 league. We were starting in 56 and building it and going forward. And so it's been maybe 8-9 years I've been playing Strat football. And but what I think in all that time, I've made the playoffs one time. So when I sit here and talk about my goal is playoffs, just make the playoffs. I don't care how far I go, but playoffs. That's the goal.
Well,
and with Peyton Manning at quarterback, as long as he doesn't do a Lamar Jackson did in Battle Royal and just kind of never really perform, we'll be all right.
Well, I think the key to your team is establish a running game somehow. I mean, that's going to be the key because.
Well, and I got the Cadillacs have 4 plus yards a carry average.
Yeah.
And if I can get him, if he averages 4 yards a carry, and I have with Pittsburgh's O line, he should do that because they're pretty solid up front. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic that this is going to be a above average team, but not much above average. You know what I mean? 9, you're 16 teams, so my goal is 6, 7 in that range. Good. Thank God my daughter's not up. Oh, my wife just did it. I'm done. That means I have to go to bed now, I think, or something, because I just said 6, 7.
Well, and your defense should carry you. And the question is, can you avoid, because you can double team all you want in this league. So as long as Manning doesn't get just swarmed by doubles,
Well, and what I was looking at also is if I go 3 wide receivers, I've got Sammy Parker at third wide receiver. I've got Eddie Kinnison out on the flanker. I've got Steve Smith, and then I got Witten at tight end.
Yeah,
you can double all you want, but eventually you run out of doubles. If I can, that doesn't mean they're not going to guess right several times, but if I can get them to not guess right most of the time, I have a chance.
Sure.
So we'll see. It's all fun. I'm enjoying it. That's all I care. Is I have fun playing and have fun, getting to know people and doing that stuff.
Right on.
Winning's just secondary. Winning makes it more fun, of course, but
right.
As I said to somebody along the way when I was talking about this, my wife's joke about whenever I say this, whenever I tell her I sent $50 over to Dennis for these leagues, she's like, "Oh, so you're supporting those Sports Geeks Anonymous programs again?" Because we all know it ain't coming back. But
it could come back. It could come back.
I'm just saying, historically, I've not done
right. Historically,
hey,
right.
You know what? I'm in the money, baby. I'm going to make money. No, my goal.
Let's move over to Tim and Jess's squad.
Right.
Jess is probably fast asleep, I assume. Tim, knowing his hours of operation.
Yeah, Jess is down at this point.
So walk us through what was your last pick, first of all?
Final pick was the Baltimore kick return. and punt
Okay.
return. BJ Sams.
BAA returners. So take us through.
Yeah, so first round, 6th overall pick. This has just been so fun. Like, I've got to tip my cap to Jess. We're so excited about this opportunity. This is his first time doing this kind of a format at all, drafting in this way with Strat Football, as far as I understand it. And this is my second time in Summer Sprint. And it also is kind of fulfilling a dream. One of the second biggest dream I've ever kind of had with Strat is I've always had this idea that I'd love to just kind of manage a team with somebody where they're doing either offense or defense and I'm doing the other. And this opportunity just kind of presented itself, and Jess and I are real excited about doing that. And I didn't care which side of the ball I was on. Having done it the one time before, I sort of felt like defense is a good place to start, especially 6th overall. I thought it was a good place for that. It was really between that and halfback. Jess and I, we sort of agree also. Not only do we just obviously get along really well, but we play in our off season of our league. He and I go head to head all the time just for fun. And so we have these discussions all the time. Philosophically on how you want to approach and build a team is something that we talk about all the time. And we both kind of philosophically agree on how we want to do it, which is defense and running the ball. So we went defense first, got Miami defensive line. That's the first defensive line to come off. Felt like that gave us, that was obviously Jess's choice. We make the calls. Whoever is on that side of the ball makes the ultimate call, but we went to the hill discussing these together, every single pick. And the Miami defensive line was the best one out there. We decided, gives us a couple blitzers, and also the 6 and 2 5s across that defensive front. Some of these defensive cards, you can pick up so much yardage on those ratings. So we just had to cover that. At halfback, then edge was a tougher call. I give Jess a lot of credit here. By the time we came down, the one I was really counting on was San Diego. LaDainian Tomlinson to fall to me. Kind of the difference being that I wanted Tomlinson's breakaway ability, and I was in love with Michael Turner's no fumble ability to kind of solve games, play a risk-averse approach. And so I ended up having to go with Indianapolis or Cincinnati running back situation was what I was looking at there. And I give Jess a lot of credit. He kind of talked me, pushed me toward Indianapolis over Cincinnati. And in hindsight, I think that was the right call. So it was a good situation where even though ultimately the call was mine because it was on offense, I listened to him, and I think we made a good call there, as evidenced by the fact that, I don't know, it looks like, 45 picks or something like that later is when Rudy Johnson fell in the draft. So I give Jess a lot of credit helping us make the right call there. Then we got the Minnesota DBs. Jess, of course, makes that call. We were pretty quickly, I think, agreed on going DB there. I still love the defensive approach, so I was kind of happy to defer to them there. Jess made the choice on which DB group he liked. There were a couple that I thought were in the running too, but I like Jess's logic on the Minnesota DBs, which is some of the long pass possibilities in this kind of a defensive card setup are really dangerous, and having a 6 free safety is more valuable here than it is, say, in the USFFL that a lot of us playing together. So there's a 0 rated strong safety, and that was the place where he wanted to accept. Here's where the weakness I'll take. I want the deep covered and my corners covered, and I thought he made a really good call, and that put us in a great position defensively to punt linebackers as we did. We then went to I ended up picking the Seattle offensive line next. We had a discussion there, and ultimately Jess disagreed with me on this one as well. When we broke it down to the few choices we were deciding between there, Jess wanted Jess wanted the New Orleans offensive line, which was a little more balanced and really has a better overall rating. And Jess is absolutely right about that. And when we were coming to that point, and Jess was making that case, I very seriously considered switching to New Orleans. In the end, I didn't. And the big factor for me was I was excited. I'd like to do a little ground and pound. Those who know me, I'd love to run if I can. And I like having 2 6-rated people on the same side of that line.
Yep.
So that if you, it's basically, if you're going to let me run, if you're going to play risk averse and not bring up your, linebackers, whatever, then I want to make sure I'm running behind 6s. So that it'll tempt you to bring linebackers up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I believe in that. I believe in drafting, not this draft for a variety of reasons, but most drafts, I'm going to look at maximum of one side, right?
For running especially.
Yeah. And actually put a premium on the lines that deliver 6'5" or 6'6" on one side, and whatever it is on the other side, because you kind of have this interesting dynamic. Not only, Tim, do you get the 6'6" on that side, but you can pretty much know that when you want no linebackers, you're probably going to get it over here on the right side. It actually makes the right side more valuable.
Looking at the chart, let me see what you're looking at now. I apologize. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You got 4 or 5 on the other side, right? So if somebody brings somebody up, you pretty much know they're going to come up on this side to try to offset those 6s.
Right, exactly.
So you can go to the right to your weaker guys if on any given play you value the higher probability that you can get 0 linebackers in that zone.
Exactly. It starts the wheel, basically. Yep. You pull your linebackers up. I start running to the right. You start having to counteract that. You might have to pull your linebackers up on that side. Now I'm flat passing all across that middle zone. So, yeah, the main thing about having the 2 6s there is a lot of teams like to, in my experience, certainly more in USFL than this format, but like to defensively just sit back. I'll let you run. Go ahead, run. I'm gonna cover the pass defensively, and they don't want to pull the linebackers up. So if I've got a coach that is going to be wanting to do that, I want to be able to make sure he is seeing me run behind 2 6s. So that he'll know I'm going to get my ratings every time.
Yep.
So it's just a deterrence thing, that kind of thing.
Atlanta tight ends.
Tight ends were interesting. I kind of wanted Tony Gonzalez a little bit. I'm not much of a homer when it comes to these kind of things because I'm far more of a competitive human than a homer human. But
Homer being the Chiefs, for those that don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm obviously a big Chiefs fan. But ended up going with Algie Crumpler. I really like one thing that was kind of a problem from a standpoint of picking a tight end is another part philosophically of my choice offensively, and was I wanted to make sure I had a fullback that can present a run threat. Doesn't have to be great. There are no Mike Allstotts of old in this set, right? But I wanted, or not many anyway. Rock Cartwright was pretty awesome, but I just wanted to be able to threaten and run from that position. And Justin Griffith was enough to do that. Algie Crumpler's great in the flat. And I thought that that's really what I kind of am going to focus on because I like to be, when I can, risk averse. So I really like Crumpler, and that's where I went with him. Then our next
the quarterback, the crazy quarterback situation. So how many rounds would you have taken the quarterback? Like if Johnson was there, would you have gone Johnson?
It's interesting. Yeah, probably he had been taken already, right?
Right, 2 slots ahead. So you were sitting. Johnson did represent, in my view anyway, a drop off. Right, once you got past Johnson, you probably weren't going to take it. But even then, you might not have taken him. Would you? You think you would have gone Johnson if he would have presented himself there 2 picks earlier, he got snagged by Brian.
Wait, now do you mean in round 6?
I mean, instead of the offensive line, in round 4, right here, it's going this way.
No. And I'll tell you why. I agree. We agreed that Brad Johnson was probably kind of the next best quarterback ready to go at that point. If we were going to draft a quarterback, that's what we would do, would be Brad Johnson. But the reality is, no, I wanted an offensive line to run behind. It was always gonna. It was kind of always gonna. I wanted to be run first philosophically. So once I had the halfback first, the second thing I wanted in my offensive arsenal was an offensive line I could run behind that wouldn't kill me in the pass block.
Then you go. So you end up with Arizona.
Yeah. So we ended up with Arizona, and we were thrilled at that point to get Kurt Warner in that spot. Even on looking back, comparing him to Brad Johnson, I mean, I'm not so sure. I mean, on first glance, Johnson's better, but work with me here. As I recall, looking back at it again on the deeper dive, that Warner had slightly worse interception rate. But if I remember right, there was a place on that long pass card where he was a little better, a little more efficient.
Maybe they're both about the same. 24th and 25th long.
Yeah, okay.
Ranked. So they're right next to each other, counting in interceptions. 13th versus 18th on short pass. So a 5 rank downgrade there, 4.6 versus 4.1. And then flat pass, 3rd versus 8th. So similar quarterback. It's like Brad Johnson light, Yeah. But you got him much later. The problem with Warner is his fumbles are 46th, in the league. That's probably where you pay the biggest price. You snap fumble at 11. He's going to fumble a couple times on the snap. It's going to happen with an 11. But and God forbid, don't run him on a sneak.
Fumble rate.
Yeah, don't run him on a sneak. Whatever you do, 124 guessed right.
Yeah.
Of course, Johnson was 55. So Johnson, also a problem to sneak.
Yeah. That's a great point. Hadn't seen it, but honestly, wouldn't have changed. I don't think either one of our perspectives from a standpoint of Jess and I were just thrilled to get Kurt Warner at that spot.
I like the Giants wide receiver pick there.
Yeah, that was a tough one. There were better wide receivers that I liked more than Plaxico Burress. There was a big part of me that wanted Santana Moss more than any receiver in this set.
Best out there.
You look at Santana Moss and where he has his long gain situated on that card. There was a long gain on short pass wrong 6. Not a lot of receivers have a straight up long gain at that spot. And I relied, for me personally, I relied a lot less on these spreadsheets you're looking at. I happened to be on a staycation all week, had nothing to do. I have been hours looking at the cards. I'm more card driven in my analysis. So kind of that's the memory and recall you're hearing. And Moss had that 6 long gain there. He had a plus.
Moss is the best. I mean, you're reading the card. I don't recall somebody. So this is expected yards, takes account receptions and yards combined. He's number 1 in every category. He's number 1 in flat pass right, best in the set. Number 1 in flat pass wrong, yes, best in the set. Number 1 in short pass right, number 1 in short pass wrong, number 1 in long pass wrong, and number 1 in long pass right. He's number 1 across the board.
That doesn't surprise me based on what I saw. Terrell Owens looked kind of close on his card, but honestly, and I thought about Terrell Owens because he had a deeper set of receivers behind him. And that was something that was why Santana Moss was never a serious consideration. I kept wanting to make it work.
Yeah, he could be.
He just does not have the receiving core behind him that allows
he's got nothing behind him.
Yeah, it was more important to me to maintain the ability to have a diverse approach than to have a bigger playmaker. I wanted to make sure that I had play calls at a 2 or a 3 receiver that would concern somebody. So I just, Santana Moss was never a serious consideration. And ended up being Plaxico Burress. I like what we got there. I think he's got some pretty good receivers.
Yep, and look, we'll get into Santana Moss later, but Santana Moss was made for somebody who picked like you, Toby, or like me with Cleveland, or like Larry with Pittsburgh, who picked up a good receiver in their special teams unit. That's where Santana Moss belonged. You weren't going to have David Patton as your second receiver.
That's a great point.
Last three picks, Carolina kicker.
Going back to my sheet now, I have trouble seeing it on yours. So, after Warner. So, yeah, then the Giants receivers, and then we go, the Carolina kicker punter. Yeah, Jess and I, being off, I put together a spreadsheet that kind of showed some of the full parts of that together. We looked at it together, and we just chose that together. Special teams was a lot more. The decision was a co-decision as opposed to we decide together, but ultimately the final decision went defense to him and offense to me, if that makes sense. We agreed on that one as the right choice there. Linebackers is the one we punted. We kept punting on quarterback and ended up dropping all the way to Kurt Warner and ended up being thrilled with the value we got there. And similarly, I thought we were very happy with the value we got all the way at the second to the last pick with the Tennessee linebackers. Jess had to wait a long time for that third pick on defense after going, 2 of the first 3 picks. But we ended up still getting a 6-rated linebacker that can cover the halfbacks coming out. And we ended up with a 10-rated blitzer out of that too. Keith Bullock is going to be able to threaten both ways on that, and so we're excited about that. His value,
and he also as a 6. I mean, he also on a 4th and 5 or 4th and 6, he can. There's not a lot of must-run quarterbacks, but he can also shadow a little bit on a 4th down situation. The 6 is going to help you with that. It's good to have that 6.
Yeah. So we were both thrilled and basically done at that point, other than the final pick, which we did have some discussion about. So I think Jess turned in a little early, but we'd put together and looked together at a spreadsheet of kick returns and punt returns and discussed, which kinds of things we value, more. There was some interest for sure in that San Francisco punt returner. Man, I think that, we might have punted on the, it ended up being that he goes
right after you.
I see it where it went, but I was considering, punting linebackers or something. I can't remember what it was, but punting something further earlier to get
kicker.
to that.
It would have been kicker. Kicker. Yeah.
Kicker.
Yep.
But but ultimately, doing that, there's just points are there on kicker, field goal kicker all game long, and we really wanted a good field goal kicker. It was important. So we went with that. Ended up getting Jay Sams and feel pretty good about that as well. So,
yeah, he's a solid returner. I mean, obviously he'll annoy you with the 18-yard kickoff return, but otherwise your unit's strong for being in the last round. So it's a good solid punt return, and 87 is your long, and that gets you a long way there if you get the snake eyes. So the squad overall, I mean, it's the battery of Warner and James. Is an interesting one. If you can get Edgerrin to get you consistent yards, then, like you said, he's going to be boosted by those 6s. I mean, that's the idea, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Dennis Young, you with us? Did we lose Dennis? We just lost him. He was just there.
Yeah, it looks like we have.
Then we'll skip over to my squad till he comes back. So, Barber went first for me. We talked about this already. It was really down to Barber or Brady. I thought you guys were going to take one of the two there. I was pushing you that way. I thought that was the right pick. I was going to take whatever you guys didn't give me, but I ended up with the choice and took Barber for all the reasons mentioned before.
If you don't mind me just cutting in, I think it really came down to either Barber or the Miami defensive line. And really, I relented easily because I felt defense is the right approach, first of all, and Barber is not my kind of halfback. I want to be able to sustain drives. I think Barber's got more value, but then maybe certainly the halfback that I ended up with. I'm not saying James is better than him, but it's just not the way I wanted to go. And I knew you were going to be happy to get Barber.
Yeah, and then come back the other way. I mean, this was I really would have liked Ben to be there, but it's because of Batch more than because of Ben. It'd be nice just to have Batch occasionally when you need the flat pass. He's the best flat passer in the set. But the consolation prize of McNair was just fine. I would say he's a good quarterback. There you go. It's good. He's got, when it's long pass right time at the end of a game and you need a touchdown, as long as you have enough guys who can go deep, which we do, McNair can get it done. Long pass right, which I like. Obviously, short pass right is just fine and dandy. Flat pass, like it looks like a lot of others in the top tier. He's a shade better than them when you actually pencil it out, but he's not great flat, but slightly good enough. He's a good enough, solid QB, especially when paired with Barber. I mean, the dynamic of this offense is I'm going to get a lot of run calls. So, can you make somebody pay? I thought maybe Bolger might slip. He's really good, guessed wrong. But he went super early, so wound up with McNair. I mean, the one I was looking at other than McNair was McNabb, who was the next to go in the next round. And I like McNabb. I'm a Syracuse guy, so I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Keith Bullock on your squad, Tim. But Syracuse guy. But McNair just had a better card all the way around and less scary interceptions on the deep ball, in particular, where McNabb has a pretty high pick there. Even if you penalize that interception with 40 yards, McNabb has a better deep ball than McNair does. It's worth noting. But I didn't really want to trade that completion for the higher interception. Now, Chicago DL, we talked about it. Top 7 DLs were pretty much guaranteed good. So I knew I was going to wait to about 3rd or 4th round for a DL because probably going to wind up with good average, and I was very happy with that. The reason I wanted to get that middle of the pack right in this spot because we did want some pass rush to go along with it. It sort of gives you that average plus defense on D, and they bring some pass rush, and I like the 11. I thought there was a chance I'd end up with a 0 free safety. So when you have a 0 free safety, the last thing you want is a 12 star 2 to get in the way of the star 10 on a safety blitz. It wastes the safety blitz. It really is a strong deterrent to even thinking about safety blitzing when you have a 12 star 2 or whatever on your line, because that 10 from the free safety could just go away. So the 11 is perfect. So like that a lot. Pairs really well with occasionally blitzing the free safety, and also get a little extra pass rush when I want it with the 6 defensive tackle. So from a pass rush perspective, get 11, 7, 4, 6 max was a good number, especially in the 3rd round. So I was happy with that in the 3rd. Then went Indianapolis fullback. This was really my offensive line pick. This kind of killed a few birds with one stone. I wanted multiple. I think it's really important to have 4 guys that can go deep on your team. Meaning your 2 receivers.
That is awesome, by the way. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I have to go. I wanted to just chime in real quick and say thank you to you for doing this. I'm going to watch the end of it, but my wife has made it home. I've got to go. So just wanted to say thank you for this, and thank you to Dennis for obviously doing this. And good luck to everybody this year. We're excited to be a part of it.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for joining.
You bet. Thanks, man.
So the Indy tight end group knocked out the problem of going deep. You got Dallas Clark, obviously, who can go deep. I mean, none of these guys except Jeremy Shockey really presents well on the card. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for matchups here against 4s or 0s, knowing that if you get defender X or long gain, these guys go all the way in this set. In this rule set. So doesn't really matter what the card is so much, really not what you're looking for. Although his card is good, obviously in flat pass, quite good, and in short pass. And he brings blocking. As a blocking back or a tight end, you can get some blocking there. Now, Harstock, again, blocking back and tight end, 6'5", or a 6 at tight end. He does not go deep, but when you need somebody to go deep, UTEP can come in and give you those four guys to go deep. And the importance of this 6 and 5, because you see the 5 pass block here, but the importance of the 6 and the 4, and especially the 6, I should say, really for Harstock is the having Tiki Barber. I wanted to have a 6 to run Barber towards, or at least the threat of it, which should hint my strong side very clearly of where Barber might run, which means I can probably go the other way with no linebackers, can probably induce some linebackers to come up and throw in the flats as well. So that, to me, was the run blocking that this particular halfback, Barber, needed. Now, next pick, Cleveland special teams. Tim talked about, getting a bruising runner. Well, Cleveland kind of checked off so many boxes that it just made sense. You get Ruben Drones at a halfback. He's got +1 keyed, brings you all the tough yardage inside. There are going to be times when you're going to see me in a full house, no doubt, where you'll see Drones, you'll see Barber, and you'll see a blocking back in Dallas Clark that can go deep. We upgrade, and we'll talk about the offensive line in a second, but it feeds the offensive line that can get upgraded across the board for its run blocking. And Drones gives me that option to go full house. Full house is a good strategy sometimes in this particular rule set, because you're guaranteed basically to not have your guys in your backfield double teamed. If they are double teamed, then they're leaving that long pass zone empty. So full house really is a long pass or run sort of approach. And Drones, Barber, Joey Galloway, that strong offensive line with 7s and 5s opens up the possibility of full house. I'm not going to be the full house all the time, but at least sometime. And then Dennis Northcutt, another big bonus. He can step in. Really, I wanted to pair him with Santana Moss. Wasn't going to happen. Larry was going to get him before I got him. It turned out Willie got him. But he can be that fill-in second receiver, and he is going to be the second receiver pairing with Joey Galloway. And then on top of all that, they bring you a touchdown on kickoff return and a nice card with Josh Cribbs. And then Northcutt himself on the returns also delivers a touchdown and a nice card. So a lot of things coming at you here in the 5th round. So I was happy to grab them there. Arizona DBs, not happy to grab them. It was sort of bottom of the barrel, and I knew I was kind of waiting for DBs. It was going to be a problem no matter what. Ended up with the 90th pick. Selected them because they had the 0 at free safety. A lot of things to offset why you don't want a 0 at free safety. I get that. There's a lot of downsides to it, but when you have a 6 back there and you end up double teaming with him, the 6 is meaningless. When you end up putting him in the short pass zone, the 6 is meaningless. When you end up sort of putting 2 men in the flat pass zone with free safety, the 6 melts away and no longer has value. So when you're fishing in the bottom of the barrel, I was more concerned about getting ratings points to the guys who actually cover, who are the cornerback and the strong safety. By the way, they don't bring many ratings points, but at least they bring them. No zeros there. New England offensive line was just a pairing with the Indianapolis fullbacks. All pass block, very little run block. I got my run blocking through the Indianapolis fullbacks. So New England's going to take care of the run blocking, the pass blocking. It does bring a center who's a 4, who got upgraded to a 5, of course, in a full house, to help Drones and his linebuck. Now, the whole line, let me pull it up here, of New England, as you can see, in a full house, gets an upgrade, which means something. No 6s on the line. So if you have a 6 in a full house, that obviously you're not going to boost the 6. Not boostable. Incrementally, you're kind of losing a point. all these guys will get boosted. And when you do that, right, when you just plug in everybody +1 here in a full house situation, all of a sudden, and this one's not dynamic. Actually, I'm in the wrong one. Let's go over here, New England. What happens to the New England line when you go to a full house? You see right now, they're ranked 27th in run and 15th overall. You go 4, 5, 5, 4, 5. You get an upgrade, and boom, becomes the third best offensive line. Because the pass block stays the same in that full house. You get that as your run block in the full house formation, upgraded across the board, and it becomes the third best line in the set. So that's the reason to go full house. All of a sudden, among other reasons, this pick, which was fourth in the bottom in the set, becomes the third best offensive line in that full house scenario. They got the backs to deal with that, right? With drones coming in. Wide receiver Galloway, kind of touched on it before. I was looking for the best single guy out there, right? Galloway is the 5th best receiver in the set, pairing him with Northcutt. Buffalo kicker, punter, they were ranked 3rd best overall. According to my rankings, got him down there at 10. Best punter in the set, and who's 10% better than any punter. And then the kicker is also 10% better than the average kicker. So balanced. That's why they came out 3rd. And right there, I'm quite happy because you end up punting a lot in this league, it seems, because of the lack of dump off. Lastly, the Giants linebacker. Not thrilled with another pick that I'm not particularly thrilled with along with the Arizona DBs. Get the 6 middle linebacker here and 2 4s on the outside for coverage. So I'm going to get picked on in coverage. This team is going to give up points one way or the other. Yeah, I got some pass rush. Yeah, it's a good run defense. It's a good defensive line. But bottom line, with 2 4s as my outside linebackers and the coverage that I have with the Arizona DBs, there's going to be points scored against the squad. So the idea is that we can keep up with it with this pretty dynamic offense. Hopefully, can keep up with it, and it's dynamic just because Barber's on the team. I mean, I think all you need to qualify. Hopefully, he gets a good amount of looks. This might be past to set up the run. Oddly, with this team, that might be what it turns out to be. We'll see. Dennis join us. Dennis not back. Dennis had to run, so let's look through all the other teams while we can. Tyke, Atlanta halfback, Houston quarterback. Let's see what Carr has to offer here. Must say I did not spend a lot of time looking at him. End run of note, probably the best must run in the set. We can check that in a second. And he's going to get some must runs. Guess wrong, not bad. Where does he rank out? Curious about that. Derek Carr. 3rd best end run. See, he's way down on Strat's rating sheet. I probably have him a bit higher. I've got him at 24th. So I don't have him cracking the top 16. Why? Let's see. I think he might have some fumbling problems here. We've got flat passes 28th in the set. Short pass, even with those must runs, the short pass counts the must runs. He's 22nd. Long pass, 19. And then fumbling, 64th, minus 0.81 in his expected yards. So he's getting really dinged with fumbles. Why? 16 snap fumble, problem. 3 team fumble, problem. 3 fumble guess right, major problem, especially with those must runs. So, I mean, this model will look at the frequency of must run, kind of your must run percentage, and you see his is elevated at 0.46%. Versus everybody else, you look around, there's not many that are close to that. I mean, probably Michael Vick or Charlie Fry, okay? A couple others that sort of approach his level. Batch. So he's must running a lot, and when he's must running, his fumble is going to be about 43 roughly. So he might, on those good must runs, might give up the ball. So got to worry a little bit about turnovers here. Dunn is clean though. a slightly elevated fumble, but not so bad. Pairing that with the Oklahoma receivers, Randy Moss and company, and the New England fullbacks, really good pick there. First one taken. You might say a little high at 32, but to me, it pretty clearly was a premier set because you get these 2 6s. Okay. It's really going to help fuel Warrick Dunn's end run ability. You're going to see, even though Ben Watson is your star, you might see a lot of Graham and Fourier lined up to give 2 6s to boost Warrick Dunn's end run and drive run calls. And I think that's what Tyke is probably after here. On the defensive side, we don't have the last pick yet for Tyke. He's still missing special teams. It's going to be good average. Pass rush rank is kind of low at 14. Greg paid the big price for Baltimore, but it paid off. Got good. So make sure you get that good when he spends the 3rd pick overall on defense, and he got it. Kansas City O-line did not go to the skill positions until the 4th round, where he got Mike Anderson. Mike Anderson is probably his 2nd best card, I think. Great guest right running through the middle here on both sides. Can get some short gains as well. 239 carries. Little bit light there for the set. 2 fumbles. Kansas City fullbacks. Talked about them before and how they can help. Tony Richardson, just 6 carries, but we'll give you 10 in strat. Gives you some good guest right running ability on linebuck. Ronnie Cruz not going to do much for you. And of course, you get Gonzo and a 6 as your 2nd guy. Dallas wide receivers brings Terry Glenn, Seattle linebackers, and New England special teams. So, overall, when you obviously the Dallas quarterback, we should focus on that for a minute, which is Drew Bledsoe and Tony Romo here. You see Bledsoe with high deterrent to go deep there. Pretty much an auto pick on 9, but if you get the other side of that 9 and a 5, you get a long gain. Bledsoe, in terms of ranking, was 24th according to Strat. According to me, 29. And yeah, he's got some fumble problems as well. 57th ranked fumble, 13 on the snap. Not going to get a lot of guest right running, but that 13 on the snap, he'll lose a few snap fumbles throughout the course of the year. John, talked about Buffalo special teams already. Tampa Bay quarterback. Interesting duo here. Got some flat passing, I think, with Greasy. Do you not? You do. Probably going to stick to the flats. Even a +4 on the INT split. Guessed right. Chris Sims. A little bit more diverse, but problems going deep here. Kind of a small, setting up as a small ball sort of team for John. Pairing him with the St. Louis halfbacks. Not vintage Marshall Faulk. Steven Jackson I think he was injured a little bit this year. Steven Jackson came in. You see that card? Those +1s are going to frustrate you a little bit. Faulk's card. Okay. On defense, finished as average. But a good pass rush, 3rd highest in the set. Michael, we talked about Palmer. Good matchup here with Portis. Portis is a guessed wrong specialist. He's not going to do much for you guessed right. So you see, guessed right has issues, but guessed wrong, not so bad on linebacker. Guessed wrong can hurt you. And to pair that with Palmer is a pretty good pairing. Rock Cartwright can help you run in a pro set. but also guessed right problems for Cartwright. Liddell Betts. Yeah. So guessed right is kind of an issue for Michael. Let's take a look at the Seattle fullbacks and see if he picks it up here with Max Strong on the guessed right side. Not really. So kind of a pass first squad all the way. I'm going to give you change ups with the good guessed wrong running. Finished good average, like many of us did, but in the 3-4. And a pass rush that's ranked highest in the league, and that's going to boost that average pass D. Over to Brian. We talked about Brad Johnson. End up with the battery mate of Tomlinson. So second tier all the way there, but both second tier. So, that's not a bad place to be when you're going to end up good, as he has. So a nice balanced squad here. Terrell Owens at receiver. Tight end's a little weak, but a good receiving crew overall in Philadelphia. Butch with Bolger, pairing that with the Carolina halfbacks who can go deep. The only halfback group that can go deep in summer sprint this year, because Philadelphia was not selected. So it's going to have that threat paired with Antonio Gates at tight end and a great receiving pair. First one's off the board. Yep, at 24, Indianapolis. For Butch, defense is average without much pass rush. So we could be seeing a lot of points in Butch contests. And I've seen that in a few Butch squads this year. Larry goes with McNabb, pairing it with the Miami halfbacks. In this case, you're getting, I think, a two-headed attack here. Rodney Brown, 207 carries. And Ricky Williams, 168 carries. Sammy Morris can also play fullback. So that's a nice pairing there. You definitely see a pro set for Larry with the Miami halfbacks pulling in Sammy Morris. Picked up the Washington fullbacks without Cartwright, who went to the halfback crew. Defense is average, and perhaps not much pass rush. So another sort of offensive-minded squad. Bob goes with Jake the Snake at quarterback. So, he's kind of like a McNair Jr., not quite the long pass as McNair. Oh, no, but not quite the long pass. One less chance deep. Just one less chance kind of across the board. But down where he got him, not a bad selection at all. I mean, this is a 6th-round quarterback. It's not a bad 6th-round quarterback for Jake. And then pairs that, of course, with Larry Johnson, who could do some real damage. So right there, you have a good setup for offense. On the defensive side, good and average. 7th, right in the middle of the pack for pass rush. Nicholas goes a lot of Pittsburgh to start. Parker and Roethlisberger, along with Batch at halfback. So Parker is a guessed wrong machine. That could get some run calls to open things up for Ben, playing with the St. Louis receivers, who I had ranked down a little bit further than this, and then the Pittsburgh fullbacks, and an average D. He took an average D to the finals in Battle Royale, did Nick? Went through the Dennis's on Willie's side. San Diego quarterback. Let's take a look at Drew Brees. Hodgepodge there. Completion scatter, though. Not a lot of, not a card full of blanks or anything for that low of a pick. Rivers probably not going to be used. So a little spotty at quarterback, but could be worse. Buffalo halfbacks, good group. Willis McGahee's got a card. Ton of carries, 325. Keyed yardage. Good guessed right. Can hit the short game, guessed wrong, so he can do some damage. Nice mid-round pick there. Washington receivers got Santana Moss, but did not really, not that I'm aware of. Did he pick up a Tennessee receiver that's worth talking about? Let's see. Tennessee returners, you get Courtney Roby. And yeah, that he'll probably fill in as a second receiver. Let's compare Roby with Patton and Thrash. I don't even know that he got Thrash though, but let's compare anyway. So Courtney Roby is going to be Tennessee's technically fourth. He's 5.83 expected yards. Compare that to David Patton, who's Washington's second. He's at 5.2. So yeah, you're going to start Roby as your second there, but not much of a boost. Not much of a boost, but a boost nonetheless to pair with the best wide receiver in the set by far. Massive weapon for Willie there in Santana Moss. Todd Heap. Baltimore really didn't have much more than Heap, as I recall. I don't think there was much in the fullbacks. But Heap himself, 75 catches. Obviously a pretty nice, one of the best. No Jeremy Shockey or anything, but a nice card. On defense, Willie will run average good with a pretty decent pass rush, ranked 4th. Larry goes with Rudy Johnson to pair with Trent Reed. Look, I rated Rudy Johnson pretty high. And it's all because of the guest right running. He's a guest right maniac. Not just getting positive yards, but getting some chunks of yards. He's going to be good, and I think we can go for 2 in this set. He can get 2 easily here. Off tackle, guest right, in a 2-point conversion scenario. Same thing, linebucker. You can go either way. And get you a 2-point conversion. Just a really strong guest right runner who brings you a little pop, guest wrong. So, I think it's a great value pick in the 6th round. Really happy with that pick if I'm Larry. Paired up with the Baltimore receivers, bit ho-hum. Denver fullbacks. Good on D. Sets up pretty nicely. I tell you what. Offense with Johnson and Green and good is a pretty good setup for Larry. Larry would have loved to have Santana Moss. I mean, yeah, you got the Baltimore receivers, but he brings in the Pittsburgh special teams, and that Pittsburgh special teams delivers for you with Antoine Randall L., your second receiver. So you're getting Randall L. Would have been great to pair him with Moss, but probably the most frustrating pick for any one of us was for Larry when Willie stole Santana Moss from him right here. Because Santana Moss with this offense would have boosted it big time. And Willie didn't have a reason really to go after Moss. There were better pairs of wide receivers out there when it was all said and done. Despite Moss's greatness, there were better pairs. But Willie went for the number 1 receiver instead and really stole the thunder away from Larry to what could have been just a really dynamic team with good on D, best receiver in the set, and a nice battery with Green and Johnson. But that's it. I'm tired. It's been 2 hours. We'll stop there. Thanks everybody for watching. Look forward to getting the season started soon. Pike, get that pick in. Talk to you soon.